How do I stay focused? So yesterday I talked a little about where I get my ideas, and basically the short answer to that is everywhere. I also mentioned the fact that it can be hard to stick to one particular idea when I keep getting more. So how do I stay focused when I continue to get these ideas? And as I said yesterday, one of the best things to do is to write down the ideas, because that way I can get them out of my head without worrying that I'm going to forget them. So first thing to do is to write them down somewhere, even if it's a Post-it. I've been notorious. Back when I was working my day job, I would have stacks of Post-it notes in my purse by the end of the day, because I would get ideas while I was working and write them down, and then I bring them home. Unfortunately, having a lot of loose Post-it notes isn't helpful. So the best thing to do with those, which I never got around to doing, was to actually put them in a notebook and maybe categorize them a little bit, because they would be on a variety of different topics. And they could have been good for both my fiction writing, but also nonfiction writing. So I definitely recommend writing them down, then organizing them. And organization helps me to focus. I tend to try at least to be an organized person. As you, let me see, I can give you an example here. I was working on a book series, so I got one of these expandable, portable file folder holders, file holder, and I have it organized with tabs. This is for a series that I call Fivefold Love. The first book of this series was available on Amazon, but I have taken it down because I want to revamp the series. This is something I wrote quite some time ago, and I wasn't too thrilled with the original story of the first book, Royal Flush, so I'm going to be revisiting this somewhere down the road, which is why I feel so inspired, I guess, to complete the series that I'm working on, because before I get back to this one, I have another series in the works. And I think, as you can see, I have several of these expandable file folders. So writing down ideas, organizing them, that helps me to focus on the task at hand, so that later on when I come back and try to work on what I may have previously started or something brand new, I always have ideas available. But even then, when I'm working, it can be hard to stay focused on the book that I'm writing, because sometimes maybe one of the side characters in the book becomes very interesting. It's like, ooh, I want to explore their story. And I can't if I want to get this book done. So, again, if that happens while I'm writing, make a quick note, set it aside. I do have Excel spreadsheets for the characters in my books, which book they show up in, where they show up, how they're related to each other. So if I do have ideas that relate to side characters as I'm working, I can make a note in those spreadsheets and then go back to what I'm doing, so that I don't have too much time taken away from the task at hand. Now, when I get to this point in the process, I'm currently doing beta revisions on Restless Spirits Book 2. At this point in the process, I am very motivated to get these beta revisions done, because I want to get this book to the editors. I have a beta read that I'm doing for someone else, and I want to get this out of the way before I start on hers. And then I have book 3 of Restless Spirits that is already written. I've started working on a second draft, but I want to get through that, get that into revisions or beta reads and editing, because then I have yet another book that I've started that I want to bring out in October for Nevada Day, because it is a Nevada specific book set here in Carson City during 1863, 1864. And I'm trying to stay focused on each of these tasks so I can get them out when I want them to. As a self-published independent author, why would I put this much stress on myself? And the answer to that is things like this because I have so many ideas, and I am going to be 63 this year. None of us know how much time we have, but at my age, I start feeling more of a sense of I have a limited amount of time to do everything that I want to do, because I can see that there's probably more of my life behind me than there is ahead of me. So, not to be depressing or anything, but just the reality of the situation is I'm not going to live another 60 years. I mean, getting to 120 is pretty unlikely. So, if that happens, I'll probably be a celebrity because I'll be a super centenarian, which, great word. But that helps me to focus right now because, like I said, Passion Restored Book 2, I'm hoping to bring that out in April. Passion Restored Book 3, I'm looking at my birthday in June. And then Battleborn Bride, my Nevada historical, I'm looking at October 31st, Nevada Day. While I'm doing all that, you will also have seen that I mentioned using my typewriter to type up some poems for October. So not only do I have the 3 books, 2 definite romances, 2 paranormal romances, 1 historical with romantic elements, but I'm also planning to put together a small book of poetry for October, for Spooktober. So I have all these ideas, like I mentioned yesterday, they're everywhere, but I need to maintain my focus on a particular idea at one time and get that finished and move on to the next one. So, as you can tell, I'm not maybe as good at focusing as I could be. And aside from writing things down, like I already mentioned, how else can I stay focused? So you can see I'm back in my upstairs office because JT is staying home. He's doing some non-writing work. He's actually, it's more in, sorry, I'm trying to get this done so I can get back to revisions. Doing non-writing related administrative work, basically work for personal and professional work in the background. So he did not go out to do his normal writing session this morning. I came upstairs so that I could focus on my revisions and the 2 of us wouldn't distract each other, because we do have our desks set up back to back like a partner's desk, which is great when we're throwing ideas back and forth, but it's not great if we want to focus. So we do have separate ways of working. One of his ways is to go out because he likes to have that ambiance around him as he writes. He's working on book 4 of the Sheriff in Nevada series, and Comic Coffee has kind of been his preferred writing spot for that. So that will also be coming out in October, but he's trying to focus on that. He's in the process of releasing Finding Salvation in March, which is coming up very soon. You can see today is February 26th, and Saturday is the last day of February. So March is almost here. And he wants to get that out on St. Patrick's Day. That the editing and the book cover on that are already done and they've been revealed. So please go and check those out. As I mentioned before, they are on pre-sale. We're hoping that maybe he will get a few pre-sales before they go live. If you're interested in a preview of Finding Salvation, you can get the first novella, which is available across the platforms as an ebook right now for 99 cents. Or if you sign up for our newsletter, you can get a free either PDF or EPUB of that to enjoy before Finding Salvation comes out. And if you do that, then hopefully you will pre-order the full compilation trilogy novellas to enjoy, because I think it's a fun story. And JT is still going back and forth with his fan that he plays games with on one of the online game sites, because the 2 of them have had quite the conversation about the Serving Salvation series. I don't know if she started Finding Salvation yet. It will be interesting to see if she does. But then he also has another book in editing right now, so that he can hopefully release that one on his birthday. That is in the Serving Salvation universe, but it's more in the time period of Finding Salvation. I've discussed all this before, so at the end of this video, I will link to my playlist so that you can go back and see all of my previous videos. I have been posting since January 1st every day. I haven't missed a day yet, so good for me. I'm almost 2 months in without missing a day. and I hope to continue. Only, 10 more months to go. So, oh, and with all of that said and all of that going on, that kind of goes back to my original point of how do I focus? So my question to you today is, what are your little tips and tricks to focus on something that you want to get done or that you need to get done? Obviously, in the working world, back when I was still employed as an archivist at the Nevada State Archives, I had specific deadlines. I had to get projects done because I had outside influence. And even then, it was hard for me to focus sometimes because my job entailed not only the work I was assigned, but I also would take in records from state agencies that had reached their records retention period and were supposed to be archived. Plus, I would help answer research questions for anybody who happened to come into the archives. So I did have a lot of responsibilities aside from whatever side tasks I was assigned. And finding the focus to get tasks done on time could be tricky. So if you're in the corporate world, I'm sure you must have, for example, we used a software at one point called Project Tracker, I believe. And that was helpful. But that also takes time away from my tasks because you have to go in and update what you're doing in the project tracker. So if you have tips and tricks of your own that you would like to share, I would appreciate it. My best way to focus right now seems to be just doing it. And as I mentioned, I'm upstairs, JT's working downstairs. I'm recording my video, but I'm not going to get it ready to go up just yet. I'm going to do a beta revision session. I have about 3 hours before we take our lunch break, and then I will start, I'll do my brief edit of this video and get the upload started so we can have lunch while I'm uploading. And then once that's done, I'll be coming back for another revision session. I did spend all day at the computer yesterday, which my body did not appreciate, but I did manage to get a lot of the revision done. I'm hoping, I'm close. I'm hoping this revision will be done either today or tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Because I think at 7 o'clock this evening, JT and I will also be recording a podcast interview for the CC and JT Amateur Hour that will be posted on Sunday. So we are doing a lot, and we do need to focus on some of the tasks at hand in order to get them done so we can continue to move our company forward. And as I've said repeatedly over the course of this video, focus is hard. I have so many ideas, like I said, even older ones that I want to get back to. And this is something that, it's getting a bit dusty, but it's still there. So the interesting thing about going back to it after all this time, I started writing this maybe 2 decades ago. Going back after all this time and going back to the original book that I had put up, it's going to be a much different series, I'm sure, because my thought processes have changed a lot. I've learned and I've grown, and I think once I get to the point where I can focus on this, it will be much better than it was originally, and at least that's my hope. So I got my video out of the way. That's task 1 done. I was focusing on this, and now I'm going to shut down my camera, get back to my beta revisions, and I will focus on that for the next few hours. Like I said, editing in lunchtime, more beta revisions, and then we'll be recording a podcast interview this evening. The life of an independent self-published author is a busy one, and it's not for the faint of heart. But if it's something that you're interested in trying, I hope you'll follow along on our adventures to see what we're doing. We may be able to help you, and if nothing else, we may show you what not to do, because I'm sure we're making what a lot of people would consider mistakes along the way. But I feel like we are making progress, and as long as we keep focused and we keep moving forward, we'll be doing just fine. So I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week so far. It is a little bit cloudy and gloomy here in northern Nevada. We had a lot of snow, which you will have seen, and all of it is melted because it got really warm and it rained. So things are damp and muddy right now, and thankfully our basement pump is going, so we don't have to worry about dealing with that right now, and we can focus on other things. Getting books out there, hopefully we'll start making enough money to where we can make some improvements to our systems like our sump pump, because there are things that we could be doing better, but right now we can't afford them. But at least for the moment it's working well enough that we can focus on our work and focus on getting more books out there, and hopefully at some point somebody will enjoy them. So I thank you for joining me today as I do this video on focus and how I focus. I hope it was helpful to you, that maybe it made you think about what you do to help get through the day and all the things that you need to accomplish. And like I said, please comment below if you have any tips or tricks that might be helpful to us. I thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.